start his presentation.
Ashok bhai,
Thank
just before Rohan bhai starts, today, as I am running the slides, questions you control, Ashok bhai.
Okay, okay.
Right. Go ahead, Rohan bhai. Sorry.
Yeah. Ashok bhai, thank you very much for that very warm introduction. But I think the key issue is the very long relationship with the industry and the many friends that I have in the industry over all these years. And therefore, this opportunity to speak to the industry again is something I appreciate. I have seen some comments already to say, you know, we should try and address in Hindi. मेरी हिंदी थोड़ी सीमित है, फिर भी कोशिश करूँगा कि हर दौर में एक समरी कर लूँ हिंदी में जो सबको समझ आए. So in the phase that we are now experiencing in terms of COVID, obviously there are lots of challenges in relation to health and life. Equally, people are already beginning to face challenges in terms of their businesses and particularly in relation to commercial contracts. And today I will deal with what will be the impact of this COVID in relation to commercial contracts. Now, the number one issue to sort of remember in relation to a COVID is that it is considered to be an act of God. तो ये एक दैविक घटना है और इस दैविक घटना का लॉ में क्या इम्पैक्ट है वो अभी देखेंगे. So Avinash bhai, if we go to the next slide. Avinash ji. लॉ में एक कॉन्सेप्ट है फोर्स मेजर. In English, that's what we refer to as an act of God. जैसे मैंने कहा हिंदी में एक दैविक घटना. और देखना ये है कि इस दैविक घटना का एक तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे क्या प्रभाव पड़ता है और ऐसी घटना को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में इन्फ्लुएंस करने के लिए क्या इसेंशियल इंग्रेडिएंट्स है. तो एक चीज तो ये होगी कि जो इवेंट है या जो अकरेंस है वो दैविक है, वो आपके हमारे कंट्रोल में है नहीं और उसका प्रभाव कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे इस तरह पड़ता है कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को परफॉर्म कर पाना बिल्कुल असंभव हो जाता है. तो जबकि हम ये इश्यू लीगल नजरिए से देखते हैं तो ये चारों चीज बड़ी जरूरी हो जाती है कि हम ये देख पाए कि एक तो ये ऐसी घटना है जो हम कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाते, उस घटना से बचने के लिए हम कोई ऐसे स्टेप्स नहीं ले सकते कि हम बच पाते, और ऐसी घटना का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे प्रभाव ये पड़े कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इम्पॉसिबल हो जाए या नामुमकिन हो जाए, तो तब हम फोर्स मेजर रिकग्नाइज करते हैं. और इसका लॉ में प्रभाव ये पड़ता है कि फोर्स मेजर जब ऐसा इवेंट होता है तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पूरा किसी तरह से रद्द होना चाहिए और दोनों पार्टी को अपने परफॉर्मेंस से मुक्ति मिलनी चाहिए. तो अगर ऐसा हो जाए कि हम फोर्स मेजर डॉक्ट्रिन में उसकी सब कंडीशंस को हम सेटिस्फाई कर पाए तो तब हम ये कानूनी ये कह सकेंगे कि ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो है वो खारिज हो गया है, और वो खारिज होने से दोनों पार्टी को ये मौका है कि वो अपने कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल ऑब्लिगेशन को अब ना परफॉर्म करे। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। ये जो फोर्स मेजोर की डॉक्ट्रिन है, एंड Ashok bhai, I'm a little concerned because half your people are saying please explain.
No, you carry on. You do a combo. There is no problem.
But let me again sum it in the context of English, which is that force majeure typically is an act of God, but it is not restricted to an act of God. So if we saw force majeure in the context, for example, of COVID, the American president is claiming that it is not an act of God, that it is an act, by one country to affect the rest of the world. So what you need is an act which is an act of a superior force. It's an act which you cannot control or resist. And this act must therefore impact a contract in a manner that performance under the contract becomes impossible. And the consequence of the doctrine of force majeure is the factor that as a result of this, the contract could be voided, and both parties are therefore not required to effectively discharge their contractual obligations. Force majeure is a clause that you are required to have in a contract. I understand that in our trade here, you may have many transactions which have a contract and many transactions which don't have a contract. Now, if your contract does not have a force majeure, then in that case, we need to look at the issue under the Indian Contract Act. And there are two situations under the Indian Contract Act. One, under Section 56, where at the time of forming a contract itself, the contract has become illegal or impossible. The second situation is you enter into a contract, but after having entered into the contract, the performance of the contract becomes either impossible or it becomes illegal. Now, in that context, the situation is, how do we illustrate this? So let me give a simple example. मैं एक आसान सा उदाहरण देता हूं कि अगर किसी ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया है एक घर खरीदने का, और वो घर बनने के बाद उस पे बिजली गिरती है और घर नष्ट हो जाता है। अभी इस सिचुएशन में जब कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का परफॉर्मेंस करना है, तो जो सेलर है उसके पास अभी घर है नहीं, और बायर इस स्थिति में ये जला हुआ घर लेगा नहीं। तो क्योंकि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट उस घर का था, उस घर को बेचने का और खरीदने का था, जबकि वो घर ही नहीं रहा, तो ये इवेंट एक फोर्स मेजोर इवेंट हो जाएगा और दोनों पार्टी को ये इवेंट परफॉर्म करने की जरूरत नहीं होगी। Sorry, can you hear me? Because I think this...
Yeah, perfectly well.
Okay. So दोनों पार्टी को ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट परफॉर्म करने की जरूरत नहीं होगी। अब जबकि हम ये सिचुएशन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में और कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की भाषा में इसका अनुवादन करते हैं कि अगर फोर्स मेजोर हुआ तो हम लोग कॉन्ट्रैक्ट परफॉर्म नहीं करेंगे, तो एक चीज ये है कि आपके कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में ही ये क्लॉज हो, पर अगर आपके कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में ये क्लॉज नहीं है तो हमको इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट देखना पड़ेगा, और वहां सेक्शन 56 में ये एक कानूनन प्रिस्क्रिप्शन है कि अगर दो चीजें होती है, या तो एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को परफॉर्म कर पाना असंभव हो जाता है, या कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को परफॉर्म कर पाना गैर कानूनी हो जाता है या अवैध हो जाता है, तो उस दोनों हालात में ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वॉइड हो जाएगा। अच्छा, अभी इम्पॉसिबिलिटी तो हम समझते हैं कि जैसे कि वो घर रहा ही नहीं क्योंकि बिजली लाइटनिंग स्ट्रक। दूसरा ये सिचुएशन है कि इलीगैलिटी क्या होती। अच्छा, इलीगैलिटी में ये सिचुएशन है कि अगर आपका एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होता, जैसे कि आप परफॉर्मर है और ये होता कि भाई आप आके हमारे इवेंट में परफॉर्म करेंगे 28 मार्च को। अब जब के 24 मार्च को नेशनल लॉकडाउन लग गया और नोटिफिकेशंस हो गए कि भाई कोई भी घर के बाहर नहीं जा सकता, तो अब अगर उस परफॉर्मर को जाके उस इवेंट में पार्टिसिपेट करना था तो वो पार्टिसिपेशन ही इलीगल हो जाता, वो पार्टिसिपेशन ही गैर कानूनी हो जाता। और इस वजह से अगर ये गैर कानूनी हो जाता है तो सेक्शन 56 ये कहता है कि परफॉर्मेंस गैर कानूनी हो जाने से उस परफॉर्मेंस को अंडरटेक करना जरूरी है नहीं, और वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो है वो खारिज हो जाएगा इन टर्म्स ऑफ द लॉ। दूसरा सिचुएशन ये है कि सेक्शन 32 में we have what we call contingent contracts, and contingent contracts are contracts where we contract for a future event. So assuming we say that I have a contract to effectively buy a harvest or to buy certain product which is to be manufactured 3 months later, and assuming that product cannot be manufactured at all because of the fact that for 3 months it was illegal to undertake any manufacturing activity. And in that situation, under the contingent contract, because that event of manufacture which had to occur after 3 months cannot occur, again the contract will effectively become void. So the key aspect is that if the contract becomes either impossible or illegal, then the contract is void. यानी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को परफॉर्म कर पाना या तो असंभव हो जाए या तो गैर कानूनी हो जाए, तो वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज हो जाता है। Can we go to the next slide? Is the slide, are the slides clearly?
Slides, yes. There is a little problem because the host, when he's showing the slides, we don't get it clear. If it is possible for you to open it on your laptop, it will probably be much clearer.
Ashok bhai, I may not be able to open it.
Okay.
Yeah, but
then I will ask Avinash to correct it.
Yeah. So let me.
I have changed the slide, but I'm trying to show the other side also. I'm just trying it.
Okay,
yeah.
So
you can continue till that. The next slide has come, English law principles.
Yeah. So I think we can just go beyond that. Yeah. And go to the slide after that, which is Supreme Court on force majeure, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So the law in terms of force majeure and in terms of frustration, as per our Supreme Court, very clearly is on the basis that whether a frustration of a contract has occurred or whether there is a force majeure event has to be looked at factually from two perspectives. One, what are the terms and conditions of the contract? And two, what are the facts as to the behavior of the parties, right? And if on looking at both these factors, which is one, the conditions of the contract, and the second is the behavior of the parties, we are able to assess two things. One, that there was an act which was not controllable, and as a result, parties cannot perform. and that parties took whatever were the best steps available to them, but despite that the contract cannot be performed, then Supreme Court says that in that sort of a situation, the contract stands frustrated and neither party is supposed to perform under the contract. Now, the situation which is then critical is to look at factually, A, does the contract have a force majeure clause? 2, did we have an act which was uncontrollable? And after that uncontrollable act occurred, did the parties try their best to perform, but they are still, it is impossible for them to perform, right? So, हिंदी में अगर कहूं तो टेस्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी यही कही है कि अगर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट परफॉर्मेंस असंभव हो जाता है, पार्टीज अपने आप से पूरी कोशिश ये करते हैं कि वो परफॉर्म कर पाएं, बट उन कोशिशों के बाद भी अगर असंभवता रहती है तो ये सिचुएशन फोर्स मेजोर का बन जाता है, ये सिचुएशन फ्रस्ट्रेशन का बन जाता है, और ऐसे सिचुएशन में फिर वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो है वो खारिज हो जाता है। अब जबकि हम ये देखें, एंड इफ वी मूव फॉरवर्ड्स, अविनाश भाई, if you just move forwards 3 slides, yeah. And this is the slide where there is a reference to the judgment of Energy Watchdog, because this is the leading judgment of our Supreme Court, where they have laid down 6 clear principles as to when we can recognize the factor that the contract is impacted by force majeure. Yes, the Energy Watchdog slide, that the contract is impacted by force majeure or frustration, and therefore parties can void the contract. Now, important to understand that when you say that parties can void the contract, it is not that parties owe each other any damages. The moment a contract is voided for the reason of force majeure or frustration, neither party owes the other party any performance. And therefore, in such a situation, the party which is supposed, for example, to supply goods, no longer needs to supply goods. The party which is purchasing, which has to pay the price, no longer has to pay the price. And in this circumstance, neither party is also entitled to get any damages. Okay? So, in this situation, your contract would be voided. तो ऐसी जब हालत हो जाती है कि फोर्स मेजोर का इवेंट होता है, तो ऐसा नहीं रहता कि किसी भी एक पार्टी को दूसरे पार्टी को डैमेजेस देने हैं या कोई कॉम्पेंसेशन देना है। ऐसे सिचुएशन में कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज हो जाता है। स्थिति ऐसी हो जाती है जैसे कभी कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था ही नहीं। तो अगर एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था कि गुड सप्लाई करने थे, तो जो सप्लायर है उसको अभी कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअली ये सप्लाई करने की आवश्यकता नहीं, जो परचेजर था उसको कोई प्राइस देने की आवश्यकता नहीं, और उसमें जो सिचुएशन अभी बनता है कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज हो जाता है और किसी एक पार्टी को दूसरी पार्टी को ना तो डैमेजेस देने हैं ना तो कॉम्पेंसेशन देना है। स्थिति यही है जैसे कि पहले से कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था ही नहीं। तो ये जो सिचुएशन है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने 6 प्रिंसिपल्स इस पे घोषित किए हैं, और इसमें जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट प्रिंसिपल ये है कि एक तो आपका कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फोर्स मेजोर को किस तरह से डिफाइन करता है। कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स ऐसे होते हैं जो कहते हैं कि भाई अगर भूचाल आए, अगर कोई और अकस्मात हो तो हम लोग ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज करेंगे। दूसरी स्थिति ये होती है कि हम लोग जो आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं इवेंट्स, उस इवेंट्स में हम लोग एपिडेमिक या पेंडेमिक की बात नहीं करते। जैसे कोविड एक एपिडेमिक है और में हमने उसकी स्पष्टता नहीं की। वी हैव मेड नो स्पेसिफिकेशन about the factor that pandemic will also be a force majeure event. Now, two situations. If your contract has no force majeure, then you will look at the Contract Act, जिसकी हमने अभी बात की कि भाई फोर्स मेजोर अगर है ही नहीं तो हम कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट को देखेंगे। अगर फोर्स मेजोर है और फोर्स मेजोर ऐसे एपिडेमिक की बात नहीं करती तो फिर हम वापस इस इश्यू के लिए कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट का रेफरेंस लेंगे। We have no option but then to again look at the Contract Act. So the principle is कि आपका अपने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में जो फोर्स मेजोर है और उसको आपने किस तरह से लिखा हुआ है, कोर्ट सिर्फ उसी का अनुवादन करेगी, सिर्फ उसी का इंटरप्रिटेशन करेगी। पर अगर आपने नहीं लिखा तो फिर आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट में जाओगे। अभी ये नहीं है कि हर सिचुएशन में ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज हो जाता है, और कोर्ट ने बड़ी बारीकी से ये कहा कि अगर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किसी भी तरह से परफॉर्म हो सकता है तो उसको हम खारिज नहीं करेंगे। और कोर्ट ने ये भी कहा कि अगर जो दिक्कत आई है उस वजह से आपकी माली हानि होती है या कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का परफॉर्मेंस और मुश्किल हो जाता है, तो ये ऐसे कारण नहीं है जिसकी तहत हम ये कह सकेंगे कि ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फ्रस्ट्रेट हो गया है। तो इफ यू हैव अ सिचुएशन where it is now costlier for you to perform the contract, or it is more difficult for you to perform the contract, then in that situation, the law does not allow you to escape what is your contractual obligation. It is only where it is impossible to perform your contract that the law protects you. So therefore, let me put it again, simple सा उदाहरण देता हूं। अगर किसी कुरियर से आपका कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था और उसको डिलीवरी करनी थी आपकी ऑफिस में जो 28वीं मंजिल पे है, और अगर ये हो गया कि भाई लिफ्ट नहीं चल पाती, तो अभी ये कुरियर नहीं कह सकता कि भाई ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फ्रस्ट्रेट हो गया, क्योंकि मैं आपको 28th फ्लोर पे डिलीवरी नहीं दे सकता, आपकी लिफ्ट नहीं चल रही है। ये जरूर हो गया कि उसको ये डिलीवरी करने का ये मामला और कठिन हो गया, ये और पेचीदा हो गया, पर ऐसा नहीं है कि ये इम्पॉसिबल हो गया है। अगर दूसरा उदाहरण ले, वही कुरियर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, पर अगर कानूनी तौर पे घर से बाहर निकलना ही मना है और उसके पास कोई स्टाफ नहीं रहता जिससे वो आपको डिलीवरी कर सके, तो उस स्थिति में ये फ्रस्ट्रेशन होगा, ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज होगा। पर क्योंकि 28 मंजिले चढ़ के आपको डिलीवरी देनी है, तो उस सिचुएशन में ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज नहीं होता, बिकॉज द लॉ सेज दैट इफ इट इज मोर एक्सपेंसिव टू परफॉर्म और इट इज मोर डिफिकल्ट टू परफॉर्म, देन दैट विल नॉट फ्रस्ट्रेट द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। ये और भी एक सिचुएशन है कि जबकि ये फोर्स मेजोर इश्यू अकर होता है, तब कानूनन ये जरूरी है कि आप दूसरी साइड को नोटिस दे कि भाई हम अब ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाएंगे। Therefore, notice of the factor of the impossibility is a requirement of the law. The second situation of the law is that you must have taken steps to try and mitigate the consequence of the contract. So therefore, the situation is, if you were responsible to mitigate but you did not mitigate, then that will not serve to release you from your contractual obligation. So नोटिस देने के अलावा एक और भी टेस्ट है कि आप अपनी तरह से फुल कोशिश करते हैं कि आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को किसी भी तरह से परफॉर्म कर पाए, और अगर आप ये कोशिश नहीं करते तो कानूनी तौर पे ये फिर से देखा जाएगा कि ये फ्रस्ट्रेशन नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि आपने अपनी ओर से बेस्ट एफर्ट्स नहीं की है। तो ये प्रिंसिपल्स है कि फोर्स मेजर जब ऑपरेट होता है, फ्रस्ट्रेशन जब ऑपरेट होता है तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज हो जाता है। पर जैसे कि मैंने कहा, क्योंकि आपको ज्यादा पैसे खर्च करने पड़ेंगे, क्योंकि आपके लिए ये ज्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो गया है, उस वजह से कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज नहीं होगा, क्योंकि अगर उस तरह के सर्कमस्टेंस हैं कि आप कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल परफॉर्मेंस या आपकी काउंटर पार्टी कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल परफॉर्मेंस अवॉइड कर रही है, इम्पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं, बट on the basis that it is more difficult. Now, if they are not able to show it is impossible, they cannot avoid their contractual obligation. Agar hum aage badhe, so as we move forward, if we see, those situations in India where they have recognized in a time of a real crisis as to when you can say that the contract is void and when it is not void. तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पास दो ऐसे उदाहरण हैं जब बड़े बड़े इवेंट घटे और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपना जजमेंट दिया। एक केस में ये जजमेंट दिया कि जो अकस्मात हुआ है उसके बावजूद कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को परफॉर्म करना था, और दूसरी में ये व्यू लिया है कि जो अकस्मात हुआ या जो घटना घटी वो ऐसी घटना थी कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को परफॉर्म कर पाना असंभव हो गया। तो अविनाश भाई, इफ वी गो टू द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, एक सिचुएशन था, ये केस है सत्यव्रता घोष का। वर्ल्ड वॉर चल रही थी, एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था कि एक प्लॉट पे कुछ कंस्ट्रक्शन काम करना है, और जब ये महायुद्ध चल रहा था तो वो प्लॉट अक्वायर हो गया मिलिट्री से, और जो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर था उसने कहा कि भाई मेरे लिए अब असंभव है, इट इज एन इम्पॉसिबिलिटी फॉर मी टू परफॉर्म दिस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंड देयरफॉर द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज वॉइड, आई विल नॉट परफॉर्म। तो उसने कहा असंभव है और मैं जो मुझे करना चाहिए वो कर नहीं पाऊंगा, तो ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज कर दो। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट देखा और कहा कि ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो है वो सीमित नहीं है, ये ऐसे नहीं था कि ये 30 दिन में कंस्ट्रक्शन करना है, ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट सालों साल चलना है, और जबकि ये सालों साल चलना है तो ये घटना जो सीमित है, जिसका प्रभाव कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे 60 दिन रहेगा, 90 दिन रहेगा, तो जबकि ये घटना सीमित है और कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लॉन्ग टेन्योर है, सो घटना 90 दिन की है, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट 3 साल का है, तो इस सिचुएशन में हम ये नहीं कहते कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फ्रस्ट्रेट हो गया। हाँ, डिले जरूर हो सकता है पर फ्रस्ट्रेट नहीं हुआ है, और जो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर है उसको अपना काम निभाना पड़ेगा, और जब भी ये महायुद्ध समाप्त होगा तो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर का परफॉर्मेंस लाजमी है और कानूनी उसको परफॉर्म करना ही पड़ेगा। तो ये एक सिचुएशन हो गया। दूसरा सिचुएशन ये था that in the case of Sushila Devi, there was a transaction for the sale of a plot. This transaction was in 1946, but immediately after we suffered a partition, and in the partition, that plot of land went into what is the territory of Pakistan. And when this issue came up, the court said that it is now impossible for the seller to put the buyer in possession of the plot or to register the transaction which will evidence the ownership of the buyer. And as a result, this is a contract which is now frustrated. And as far as we are concerned, the situation therefore is contract is frustrated, it is voided. तो ये कहा कोर्ट ने कि जबकि ये प्लॉट जिसको बेचना था ये अब पाकिस्तान में चला गया, तो या आप इस प्लॉट का पोजेशन नहीं दे पाओगे, आप इस प्लॉट का रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं दे पाओगे, और पार्टीशन की वजह से ये पूरा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट असंभव हो जाता है और हम खारिज करते हैं। तो अलग अलग सिचुएशंस में आप देखोगे कि ये सिचुएशन रहा है कि कोर्ट ने उस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को देखकर, उस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की लैंग्वेज को देखकर एक व्यू बनाया है कि इसको खारिज माना जाए या खारिज नहीं माना जाए। और ये सिचुएशन हम अगर देखें तो इंटरनेशनली भी ये हुआ है। अविनाश भाई, इफ वी जस्ट मूव 2 slides, it comes to the US court. So जब ये 9/11 इंसिडेंट हुआ अमेरिका में, तो एक सिचुएशन ये आया कि 9/11 जब घटा तो एक इवेंट प्लान हुआ था जो फरवरी में होना था, और उस इवेंट के ऑर्गेनाइजर ने कहा था कि भाई हम हमारा फरवरी का इवेंट कर नहीं पाएंगे और हम कैंसिल कर रहे हैं क्योंकि सितंबर में ये टेररिस्ट इंसिडेंट हो गया। वो इश्यू जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट या वहां जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट है उसमें गया, तो द व्यू विच वाज टेकन वेरी क्लियरली वाज दैट the terrorist incident has occurred in September, your event is in February, you are not frustrated in the performance of your contract, and you will have to perform your contract, because when you say कि लोगों में fear है, that is not a basis for you to avoid your contractual obligation. So कोर्ट ने ये कहा कि सितंबर में जो इवेंट हुआ वो आपके फरवरी के इवेंट में ऐसी तो कोई इंपैक्ट नहीं लाता कि आप कहें कि ये बिल्कुल इम्पॉसिबल है, हम कर ही नहीं पाएंगे। और ये कहना कि लोगों में आम डर है और शायद कोई आएगा नहीं, वो बेसिस नहीं बनता आपको ये कहने का कि आप अपना कॉन्ट्रैक्ट अवॉइड कर सकते हैं। दूसरा, जैसे अब हम कोविड देख रहे हैं, इसके पहले सार्स था और काफी लोगों ने ये पूछा है कि रेंटल अग्रीमेंट्स का क्या होगा। तो ये एक जजमेंट है जहां हांगकांग की कोर्ट का कि किसी का 2 साल का टेनेंसी अग्रीमेंट था और वो 2 साल के टेनेंसी अग्रीमेंट में 10 दिन ऐसे आए कि सार्स की वजह से वो आदमी हॉस्पिटल चला गया और उसने कहा कि क्योंकि मैं 10 दिन ये घर में नहीं रह पाया तो आप ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज कर दो, क्योंकि मेरे से ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट परफॉर्म नहीं हो पा रहा। उस 10 दिन मेरे लिए असंभव था कि मैं वो फ्लैट में रह पाऊं। हांगकांग की कोर्ट ने बहुत क्लियरली ये कहा कि ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आपका 2 साल का था, आपका फर्नीचर उस घर में पड़ा रहा 10 दिन जब आप अस्पताल में थे, और 10 दिन की जो आप कह रहे हैं कि 10 दिन के लिए मेरे लिए असंभव था, वो 10 दिन का साया ऐसा नहीं है कि ये असंभवता हट नहीं जाती। 10 दिन के बाद वो असंभवता हट जाती है, और क्योंकि आपका कॉन्ट्रैक्ट 2 साल का था तो ये सिचुएशन हम आपके 10 दिन की असंभवता का सिचुएशन ऐसा नहीं देख सकते कि ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज होना चाहिए। तो हर सिचुएशन में ये देखना पड़ेगा कि असंभवता है और असंभवता ऐसी है कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हम उस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को परफॉर्म ही नहीं कर पाए, या असंभवता ऐसी है कि उस असंभवता का प्रभाव कुछ ही दिनों के लिए रहेगा और जबकि वो हट जाएगा तो पार्टीज को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पूरा परफॉर्म करना ही पड़ेगा। तो अगर हम ये देखते हैं कि इस तरह का सिचुएशन ना सिर्फ इंडिया में है बट ग्लोबली, द पोजीशन इज वेल सेटल्ड दैट अल्टीमेटली unless there is a impossibility or there is an illegality as a result of which there is no ability to perform the contract, that will lead to a frustration and that will lead to avoiding of the contract. But if the shadow which is cast on the contract is temporary and that will get lifted over a period of time or after an event is over, then there is a continuing obligation to go out and effectively perform the contract. And that remains the only basis. The fact that it is costlier or the fact that it is more difficult is not a basis to avoid your contractual obligation. Abhi, Avinash bhai, if we go 2 slides ahead, we come to a slide which says is COVID force majeure. तो अभी विश्व भर में अगर हम देखें तो ये मुद्दा बचा नहीं कि कोविड फोर्स मेजर है कि नहीं। ये अभी विश्व भर में मान्य है कि कोविड फोर्स मेजर है। WHO ने जो नोटिफिकेशंस इशू करे हैं, चाइना ने 5,000 इंटरनेशनल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स में चाइनीज पार्टी को ऑलरेडी ये सर्टिफिकेट दे दिया है कि उनका माल सप्लाई न करना सिर्फ फोर्स मेजर की वजह से है। इंडिया में भी हमारे नोटिफिकेशंस आए हैं कई सारे। एक तो लॉकडाउन का जो नोटिफिकेशन था, दूसरा स्टेट्स के नोटिफिकेशन थे, और अथॉरिटीज जैसे शिपिंग मिनिस्ट्री ने कहा है कि पोर्ट एक्टिविटीज जो फ्रस्ट्रेट हो गई इस वजह से कि कोविड का प्रभाव था, उन्होंने भी ये रिकॉग्नाइज किया है कि ये फोर्स मेजर है। तो अब ये चर्चा का विषय नहीं या ये किसी कोर्ट का जजमेंट का विषय नहीं कि कोविड फोर्स मेजर है कि नहीं। ये स्थापित है कि कोविड इज अ फोर्स मेजर इवेंट। So the question then is, if COVID is a force majeure event, then how is it going to impact different types of contracts? And over here, if we go to Avinash bhai, there is a slide which says impact analysis. It is about 3 or 4 slides away. Yes. So if we now see, COVID is impacting, of course, your operational contracts. It is impacting your employment contracts. It is impacting your service contracts. So let us say lease arrangement, rental arrangements, and it is impacting financial contracts, which are contracts which you either have with your banks, or another species of service contract is going to be your insurance contracts which you have. So let me just deal with some of these issues practically for you, which Ashok bhai had sent me, in terms of a list of the issues which come up. And then, of course, those which are not covered, we can still deal with in the question and answer sessions. So let me take up this one issue, which is, on rental. And I think some of you may be lessees or people who are renting properties. Some of you may be people who are giving properties. Now, the question which comes up is, what is the impact on rental contracts? And ये बात अभी आम छिड़ी हुई है, और जो बड़े बड़े situations हैं जहां BPOs हैं, retail stores हैं, ये बात छिड़ी हुई है लैंडलॉर्ड और टेनेंट के बीच कि भाई टेनेंट ये कह रहे हैं कि ये जो सिचुएशन है, हम प्रॉपर्टी ऑक्यूपाई ही नहीं कर पाए, और जैसे रिटेल वाले कह रहे हैं कि हमने तो प्रॉपर्टी ली थी रिटेल स्टोर के लिए, पर लोग ही नहीं आ पा रहे हैं, तो इस वजह से हमारा सिचुएशन ये बन रहा है कि वी फील दैट वी आर नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू पे यू एनी रेंट। तो रिटेल वाले कह रहे हैं कि भाई हमको तो रेंट देने की जरूरत है नहीं आपको, और हम रेंट दे नहीं पाएंगे, और जिस दौरान ये कोविड चलेगा और रिस्ट्रिक्शन चलेंगे, हम आपको पैसे देंगे नहीं, हम आपको रेंट देंगे नहीं। लैंडलॉर्ड ये कह रहे हैं कि भाई हमने तो प्रॉपर्टी आपको अवेलेबल कर दी, वी हैव मेड अवेलेबल द प्रॉपर्टी, you have assets on my property, whether you have retail assets, whether you have store furniture, whether you have storage equipment, all of this you have already on my property. And therefore, even though you or your staff physically cannot come, or your customers physically cannot come, I have made available the property, and even on a day-to-day basis, I am storing your furniture, I am storing your goods, and therefore you need to pay me. Now, in a situation like this, firstly, if your contract, which is your rental contract, is a long tenure contract, या let us say 2 साल का contract है, अभी इसमें कोविड का प्रभाव शायद 60 दिन रहेगा, शायद 90 दिन रहेगा, तो वो 2 साल में ये प्रभाव जो है वो सीमित है। तो ये सीमित प्रभाव की वजह से आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज तो नहीं कर सकते। You cannot go on the basis that the contract stands frustrated and therefore the contract is void. What now happens therefore is, since the contract can't be treated as frustrated or void, then in that situation, the question which comes up is that for these 90 days, what is typically happening is that even the largest BPO companies are giving notice to their landlord to effectively say that there must be a renegotiation. And I understand that, you know, you are storing my goods, you're storing my server, you're storing my computers, my desks, my furniture, but I am not able to use this property for the purpose which I took it for. And therefore, either you have to waive the rent for 3 months or you have to reduce the rent for 3 months. So under rental contracts, and particularly long-term rental contracts, the impact of the COVID is likely to be limited to a period of the time for which you have rented the property. And to that extent, you cannot void the contract. However, you can very clearly renegotiate, either to say that there should be no rental till the impact of COVID lasted. So therefore, you ask for a waiver of rental, or you seek some nature of a renegotiation of your particular contract. And therefore, you ask for a lesser rental to effectively be paid. Now, the only instance where your taking of a space could stand frustrated is if you were taking a space only for 45 days, for example, and those 45 days happen to fall within the period of the government lockdown. And therefore, it became impossible for you to take over the property or to enjoy the property in that fixed period of 45 days. Or let us say if you had effectively contracted with a hotel to hold an event, and it became impossible because the date of that event fell right in the middle of the lockdown. Now, these are two cases of impossibility. And it is possible then to contend that because of the impossibility, these sort of contracts, which is for 45 days or one event, those have become impossible and therefore those should be voided. But where you have a long tenure contract for rental, the fact that 60 days or 90 days you were not able to use or access will at best give you a right to renegotiate, but it will not give you a right to say that the contract is void or a contract pura khalij hona chahiye. One of the other situations, which has come up is people have sort of asked questions in relation to what happens if I had a contract and I had a contract to deliver some jewelry. I have also received an advance from the customer, and under the contract, I was required to make the delivery on a fixed date, right? Now, in such a situation, what should happen? Now, of course, in your industry, in this sort of a situation, there may be an additional issue that in the meanwhile, while there is this COVID, let us say the rate of gold may have changed. And to that extent, it will now become costlier for you to supply those goods. Now, in this situation, typically, if we see what the essence of the contract is, the essence of the contract या कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का मूल ये है कि एक आदमी या एक इंस्टीट्यूशन ज्वेलरी बेचेगा और दूसरी पार्टी ये ज्वेलरी खरीदेगी. इसका मूल ये नहीं है कि इस डेट पे मैं खरीदूंगा या इस डेट पे मैं बेचूंगा, क्योंकि अगर वो ज्वेलरी है, तैयार है, और अगर उस डेट पे डिलीवरी नहीं हो पाई तो कोर्ट ये देखेगा कि द एसेंस ऑफ द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का मूल ये है कि ज्वेलरी बेची जाएगी, खरीदी जाएगी, उसका डेट से इतना गहरा ताल्लुक नहीं है जितना कि उस ज्वेलरी की डिलीवरी देने में है. So in that situation, what a court would look at is the essence of the contract is the supply of jewelry. The date of supply is in a manner a secondary issue. And to that extent, therefore, a court would say that the contract is performable. The issue which will now come up is, if as a result of the delay, gold has become costlier, then can I as a seller avoid this contract? The answer would be no, because the basic principle is that merely because it is now costlier to perform a contract, you cannot avoid the contract. So therefore, अगर ये जो कोविड की वजह से आप डिलीवरी नहीं दे पाते और उस दौरान सोने का भाव बढ़ जाता है, तो वो भाव बढ़ने से आपको ये रीजन नहीं मिल जाता कि आप कहें कि भाई ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज कर दो. आपको अपना ऑब्लिगेशन बेचने का आपको परफॉर्म करना पड़ेगा, और कोर्ट ये कहेगी कि क्योंकि ये सोना अभी महंगा हो गया तो इस वजह से हम खारिज नहीं करेंगे. कोर्ट दोनों कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग पार्टीज को ये राय भी देगी कि ये इश्यू के सोना और कॉस्टली हो गया, ये तो बिजनेस रिस्क है जो सेलर लेता है, पर कोविड का जो प्रभाव है उस प्रभाव की वजह से जो फेयर होता, जो कानूनी तौर पे सही होता, ये होता कि हम खारिज न करें, पर दोनों पार्टीज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की प्राइसिंग को फिर से इस तरह से देखें कि जो सोने का भाव बढ़ गया है उस वजह से प्राइस भी बढ़नी चाहिए या नहीं. सो द इंक्रीज इन प्राइस ऑफ गोल्ड is not a basis to avoid the contract. It certainly could be the basis for a renegotiation. But because it has become costlier, it is not a basis to avoid or void the contract. So typically in such a contract, the previous judgments tell us that you have a responsibility to perform, you have a responsibility to deliver, that you cannot avoid because your raw material has become costlier. However, this situation is a basis for you to seek to enter into a renegotiation of the price. Now, if the other party does not agree to the renegotiation of the price, that does not give you an ability to say that you will not supply the particular goods. तो जब आपका renegotiation होना है, अगर जो दूसरी पार्टी है वो बायर मानता नहीं कि मैं प्राइस बढ़ा कर दूंगा, तो ये बेसिस नहीं है कि आप कहें कि भाई ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज कर दो, मैं आपको गुड सप्लाई नहीं करने वाला. Now let's also look at I think one of the other situations which has come up, which is to say that assuming I am a wholesale dealer or I am a manufacturer, I have some long-term contracts, and in terms of this long-term contract I had to keep supplying goods. मुझे goods की delivery देनी थी, और ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट 2 सालों का था। अगर इस सिचुएशन में मैं डिलीवरी नहीं दे पाया 1 महीने, 2 महीने, 3 महीने, तो उसका प्रभाव क्या होगा? अभी एक चीज जो देखनी पड़ेगी, तो आपके कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में क्या कोई फोर्स मेजॉर कंडीशन है, और उस कंडीशन में क्या आपने जिक्र किया है कि अगर एपिडेमिक होगा या पेंडेमिक होगा या ऐसा कोई इवेंट होगा जो दोनों पार्टी की कंट्रोल से बाहर है, तो ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज हो जाएगा। अगर ऐसा क्लॉज है तो आप कह सकते हैं कि भाई इसको खारिज कीजिए। अगर ये आपका सप्लाई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट 2 साल का है और कोविड का प्रभाव सीमित है, 60 दिन है या 90 दिन है, तो जबकि ये प्रभाव हट जाएगा तो आपको वापस डिलीवरी करनी पड़ेगी। अभी इस सिचुएशन में कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल नेगोशिएशन की बात आएगी कि डिले होने की वजह से क्या डैमेजेस भरने हैं, क्या कोई पेनल्टी भरनी है, क्या कोई कॉम्पेंसेशन देना है। एंड दिस इज वेयर यू वुड गो बैक टू द लैंग्वेज ऑफ द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। आप अपने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की जो भाषा है उस पे वापस ध्यान देंगे कि इस सिचुएशन में हमने क्या कहा था। क्या हमने ये कहा था कि अगर डिले हो जाएगा तो डैमेजेस होंगे, अगर डिले हो जाएगा तो किसी तरह से पेनल्टी भरनी पड़ेगी? अगर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में ये स्पष्ट है कि पेनल्टी भरनी पड़ेगी या कॉम्पेंसेशन भरना पड़ेगा डिले के लिए, तो इसका प्रभाव ये होगा कि ये भरना चाहिए। पर जो सप्लायर है ये कह पाएगा कि मेरी डिलीवरी इम्पॉसिबल थी, क्योंकि ना तो मैं किसी को रिक्रूट करता, ना तो मेरे एम्प्लॉय आते, ना ये माल बनता, ना मैं आपको डिलीवर कर पाता। तो इस सिचुएशन में जबकि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में भी अगर लिखा हो कि डैमेजेस देने पड़ेंगे या पेनल्टी देनी पड़ेगी, आप ये मुद्दा ले सकोगे कि भाई ये इम्पॉसिबिलिटी है कि मैं माल बना पाता, ये इम्पॉसिबिलिटी है मैं आपको दे पाता जो डेट है उस पे, और इम्पॉसिबिलिटी की वजह से ये जो पेनल्टी या डैमेज है वो पेनल्टी और डैमेज का क्लॉज रद्द होना चाहिए टू द लिमिटेड एक्सटेंट कि मैं आपको ये माल दे नहीं पाया। तो two issues arise. One, it is not a situation because you could not deliver at a certain date or milestone that the whole contract is effectively voided. However, for the particular milestone where you couldn't deliver, which was impacted by COVID, and if you then needed to pay damages, you can certainly take up a basis in law to say those damages are not payable because it was impossible to perform the contract to meet that milestone. So आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पूरा खारिज नहीं कर पाओगे, पर अगर डैमेजेस देने हैं, अगर पेनल्टी देनी है, तो वो डैमेजेस और वो पेनल्टी आप सर्टेनली ये आर्ग्यू करोगे कि वो इस सिचुएशन में इम्पॉसिबिलिटी थी, असंभावना थी, और उस वजह से ना तो डैमेजेस बन पाते हैं, ना तो कोई और पेमेंट बन पाता है, और वो डैमेजेस नहीं भरने हैं, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट चलता रहेगा, पर ये एक नॉन डिलीवरी के लिए क्योंकि हमको कोई पेनल्टी नहीं भरनी। The other issue which comes up is on insurance. I think Ashok Bhai has sent this to say that in some instances, you could not open your shop for 30 days. And if for 30 days your shop was not open, many insurance contracts have a clause that the insurance will not cover you anymore. Or under the insurance contract, it was required that you had to provide 24-hour security. But security services were not available. People could not come to perform those security functions. And as a result, can the insurance company say that the insurance contract does not cover you and insurance contract is voided? I mean, both these situations, of course, insurance contracts are very complex. पेचीदा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होते हैं और ज्यादातर इंश्योरेंस कंपनी के फेवर में होते हैं। पर अगर ये सिचुएशन कि यू कुड नॉट ओपन योर शॉप फॉर 30 days or you could not get security on a 24-hour basis, both of these are aspects of impossibility, because there were government notifications that you could not open a shop. It was illegal to open a shop. People could not turn up for work, so it would therefore have been impossible to provide 24-hour security. So while generally insurance contracts are very carefully and complexly written normally in favor of the insurance company, ये पेचीदा क्लॉजेज होते हैं और ज्यादातर उनका झुकाव इंश्योरेंस कंपनी की तरफ ही होता है। पर फिर भी इस सिचुएशन में क्योंकि इम्पॉसिबिलिटी है, 30 दिन तक इम्पॉसिबिलिटी थी, सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइड करने की इम्पॉसिबिलिटी थी, आपको उनको नोटिस भेजना चाहिए कि ये पोजीशन इम्पॉसिबल था और इस वजह से ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खारिज नहीं हो सकता, इसके कवर भी रिड्यूस नहीं हो सकता। और क्योंकि आपने पास्ट में अपना प्रीमियम भरा है या रिस्क कवर भरा है, तो इस सिचुएशंस में ये इंश्योरेंस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आपको स्टिल कवर करेगा और वो खारिज नहीं माना जाएगा। तो ऐसी सिचुएशंस हमको फैक्चुअली देखनी पड़ेगी। आपके कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की जो भाषा है उस बेसिस पे देखनी पड़ेगी। पर इम्पॉसिबिलिटी है, इम्पॉसिबिलिटी ग्लोबली एक्नॉलेज्ड इम्पॉसिबिलिटी है। हमारे देश में इलीगल था दुकान खुली रखना या किसी स्टाफ को बुलाना, तो इस बेसिस पे आप इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को नोटिस दे के उनको ये कह सकते हैं कि देयर इज नो क्वेश्चन of cancellation or voiding of the contract or the cover. I think the other issue which comes up for everyone is employee related. You know, your employees will be of 3 types. या तो आपके permanent contracted employees हैं, या तो आपके contract ऐसा है कि आप लोगों को एक समय पे 60 दिन या का काम या 30 दिन का काम देते हैं, और ऐसा भी हो कि आपका कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ही ना हो अपने कारीगर के साथ। अभी इस सिचुएशंस में अगर तो कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है नहीं तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ब्रीच का सवाल उठता नहीं, और ये रिटन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का सिचुएशन बन नहीं पाता, तो उसका उल्लंघन की बात भी बन नहीं पाती। अच्छा, जबकि ओरल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो, या तो एम्प्लॉयमेंट में हो या तो बिजनेस में हो, ओरल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट अंडर द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट एंड एविडेंस एक्ट आपको प्रूव करना पड़ता है। आपको ये प्रूव करना पड़ता है कि हम लोगों ने आपस में ये अग्री किया था और जैसे कि हमारे कॉन्डक्ट से क्लियर है या जैसे हम लोग एक दूसरे के साथ व्यवहार कर रहे थे उससे क्लियर है कि ये हमारा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था। तो ओरली जब कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो तो पहले उसको प्रूव करना पड़ता है कि ये हमारा अंडरस्टैंडिंग था और हमारे व्यवहार से ये प्रूव होता है, सिद्ध होता है कि हमने ऐसा अग्रीमेंट किया था, लिखाई में नहीं किया था पर ये अग्रीमेंट फिर भी था। Now in all these situations, two aspects come up. One, people are asking that, PM has said, please continue to pay your workers. Is that a obligation? Is it a law? The answer is very clear that PM has only made a suggestion. It is a recommendation. It is not a binding aspect of the law that you have to pay. And therefore, what PM has recommended is not of the same status as a obligation which you have under the law. ये PM का सुझाव था, ये कोई कानून तो नहीं था, और PM ने कहा है कि जिस हद तक आप कर सकते हैं आप अपने कारीगरों को प्लीज अपनी तनख्वाह देते रहिए। तो ये कोई कानूनी रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं था, ये एक सुझाव था। दूसरा सिचुएशन ये आता है कि जब बड़ी बड़ी फैक्ट्रीज हैं तो अलग विभिन्न लॉ आते हैं, इंडस्ट्रियल डिस्प्यूट्स एक्ट आता है, पीएफ एक्ट आता है, ESIS आता है, और उसके तहत आपको वो कंट्रीब्यूशन करना है, चाहे वो वर्कर आए या ना आए काम पे। अभी ये जो आपका ऑब्लिगेशन है, ये जो आपकी जिम्मेवारी है, ये कानूनी जिम्मेवारी है, और ये जिम्मेवारी इस बात पे नहीं निर्भर कि वो आदमी काम पे आया था या नहीं आ पाया था। तो वो कंट्रीब्यूशन जो है वो कानूनी तौर पे करना पड़ेगा। अब सरकार पे ये निर्भर है कि वो नोटिफिकेशन इश्यू करते हैं और ये कहते हैं कि भाई इस 60-90 दिनों में आपका कोई ऑब्लिगेशन है नहीं, आपकी कोई जिम्मेवारी है नहीं। पर जो कानूनी कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशंस हैं वो चाहे आपका वर्कर आया नहीं आया, आपको वो करने पड़ेंगे। जो वर्कर को पेमेंट करना है ये तो कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल है, आपकी टर्म्स क्या थी, और उस दौरान बड़ी कंपनियों ने भी दो तरह के अप्रोच लिए हैं। एक तो ये कि भाई हम पूरी सैलरी देंगे, दूसरा ये कि भाई कोई कमाई नहीं हो रही थी तो हम वर्कर्स को कहेंगे कि 30%, 40%, 50% इतनी कटौती ले ले, और हम कटौती के बाद जो भी बनता है वो वर्कर्स को देंगे। So whether you contractually were required to pay is something that, of course, the language of the contract will tell you. If you didn't have a contract, the situation is you will have to go by understanding and conduct of parties. The statutory dues, which is Industrial Disputes Act, ESIS, etc., those you will have to pay unless government issues a exemption notification to say that you are not required to pay. Other than that, you are required to pay those. And as far as your workers are concerned, it is then a question of a contractual renegotiation. And what the PM has said is, of course, a suggestion and an advisory. But if you renegotiate with your workers that they will take a 30% or a 40% salary cut, and contractually you all both agree that, then of course under the contract, you can, for those relevant months or for that relevant period, pay them the lesser renegotiated amount, which is, let's say, 30-40% lesser than what you might have otherwise agreed. So, depending on your different situations, you will have to see the law. Let me take the last issue, which is LCs. Those of you who may be exporting, you will have commitments to ship the goods. There will be LCs which you may have opened or which have been opened in your favor. In that situation, important to understand that in relation to an LC, there is a recent judgment of the Bombay High Court which has said that your sales contract is a different contract and your LC is a different contract. Yeah, this is the judgment. No, the previous one. Yeah, thank you. So the court has said that, your LC is a separate contract with a bank. Your sale contract is a completely distinct contract. Because your sale contract cannot be performed, you cannot avoid the LC. So therefore, the party which has had the LC issued will still be responsible if the preconditions under the LC are satisfied. So in this case before Bombay High Court, what happened is that the goods were shipped from the foreign port. The Indian buyer refused to take the goods and refused to make payment because he said the port facility is closed. Now, what he therefore moved the court is to say that please effectively stay the LC and declare that I have no obligation to pay under the LC. What the court said is, under the LC is a separate contract. The LC operates in favor of the supplier. The force majeure in the LC is for the protection of the seller, not of the buyer. And in Indian ports, the goods, namely steel, were an essential item which was to be cleared and handled. Therefore, under this contract, the seller has done everything they are supposed to do. You as a buyer cannot seek an order from a court to avoid payment under the LC. And it therefore directed payment under the LC on the basis that supplier had shipped the goods and therefore buyer could not avoid this obligation. So, these will be the different situations, but the fundamental principles still remain the same. If there is impossibility, agar performance असंभव है, तो आप contract को खारिज कर सकते हैं. You can say that the contract is voided. But जरूरी ये है कि आप अपनी पूरी कोशिश करें. So it's important that you take all steps for performance and mitigation. But if those are impossible, then you give a notice to the other side and terminate. आप notice के बाद फिर खारिज करें. तो ये एक सिचुएशन है कि आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को वॉइड कर सकते हैं, खारिज कर सकते हैं. दूसरा सिचुएशन ये है कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वॉइड नहीं होता, पर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे एक साया या प्रभाव पड़ता है. सो द इम्पॉसिबिलिटी कास्ट अ शैडो ऑन द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दैट इज फॉर अ पीरियड, एंड वंस द शैडो इज लिफ्टेड, जब ये प्रभाव समाप्त हो जाए तो पार्टीज वापस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को परफॉर्म करने के लिए they are compelled, they are duty bound. You may renegotiate some terms, but it is still necessary in a long-term contract that parties discharge their obligations. That आप contract के तहत आपका जो obligation है वो आप perform करें. आप price renegotiate कर सकते हैं, आप period renegotiate कर सकते हैं, but जो contract long tenure है, 2 साल का है, 3 साल का है, वो खारिज नहीं हो सकता. उसमें आप रीनेगोशिएट कर सकते हैं, और आपकी जो रीनेगोशिएशन होंगी वो इस बिना पे होगी कि ये प्रभाव था, 60 दिन था, 90 डेज था, जो भी था, और इस प्रभाव की वजह से रीनेगोशिएशन नेसेसरी है, अनिवार्य है. So I think that's where it comes to. If there is an impossibility, you could rescind. If, however, the impossibility is only periodic, then it only casts a shadow. Post the shadow being lifted, you are obliged to contractually perform, although you may renegotiate terms in the contract. I think that's really the essence of the law. I've tried to cover some of the issues which Ashok Bhai had sent me. But if there are any specific queries, I'm happy to try and answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rohan. I think we had a little issue with the PowerPoint presentation, which was slightly blurred because it was shown by the host itself, and I think there are some kind of restrictions which come into. But I think the best part is that you have covered almost every single thing and every single apprehension that we had in mind. We had a huge number of queries coming in regarding the rent issue. Can we? Sorry. So on the rent issue, the some questions still are being asked on the fact that in case we do not pay the rent to for this period of the COVID, are we going to have any impact on the contract in any nature where there is no force majeure declaration done? And this is specifically for the month of April.
Let's talk practically. One, we will have to go back and see whether our rent contract has a force majeure clause. Assuming it does, then we need to see whether the force majeure, is a situation where we cover an epidemic or pandemic, or we have some general language which says any event beyond the control of parties. If it is covered in the force majeure, then of course we can ask for a suspension of contractual obligation, namely the obligation to pay in the period that the force majeure event is there. So one situation is you have a force majeure and it covers it. If it doesn't cover it, then you need in this situation to go back to the law of contract. And there we go back to the section on frustration under the Contract Act. And if we can show that there was an impossibility, which in terms of COVID, of course, there is an impossibility, but you have to understand that the impossibility is for you to occupy and enjoy. There is no impossibility at the end of the landlord who has made his property available and the property is still being used. So the typical situation here is that, this may not be a frustration, but it certainly is a basis for renegotiation. And in such a situation, I know, many of my very large clients have given notice to the landlord seeking what they call a suspension of performance. That means we need to suspend performance in this period. And when they give the notice for suspension of performance, which is what I guess if you all are tenants, you also need to do, is to give notice for suspension of performance and seek a waiver of the rental in this period. Now, most landlords have been accommodating. They have foregone that portion of the rent which is due to them. But in some cases, landlords have a difficulty because, they may have discounted this rental with banks. They may have taken certain loans or financial facilities based on the fact that you will pay and, you are a whatever AAA tenant or a tenant. Now, in that situation, while you give the notice of suspension of performance or you give notice of impossibility, you may need to renegotiate with your landlord. There are many instances where landlords have agreed to forego for the month of April. In some cases, they have said, pay me 30% because I have to service the financial accommodation I have taken from a bank. So, it will not result in a situation where you can claim that the contract is to be voided. But certainly, once you give notice of impossibility, once you seek suspension of performance, you definitely will be in a scenario where you can renegotiate. Somebody made sent in a comment on what about law of tort. Quite honestly, tort is to cover those situations where you have neither a contractual basis nor a statutory provision. So if you fall out of all, your contract does not have any provision, you don't fit under the Contract Act, you may talk of tort and equity, but in the Indian context, that would be difficult.
What was the precise date of force majeure, if you really look at it? Where does it start from? Where does
Maharashtra, it would be 21st of March, because in Maharashtra, we had a lockdown provision from 21st March.
That's
in
right.
Different states, you need to see what is the date at which your state government issued the first notification. The central notification has, of course, come for 24th onwards. And, that will continue now till the 3rd of May. So your ability to claim force majeure, and, I would not claim force majeure. I would refer both to force majeure and to the fact that it became illegal for you to be able to take in people. It became illegal in the context of your people being able to come and staff the particular premises. So, you need to go both on the factor of force majeure. You also need to go on the factor that it would have become illegal. And you certainly need to claim impossibility because, the premises to that extent was not capable of being enjoyed by you. Though the landlord will say that he had made available the premises, you had the key, you could have entered. So there was nothing more for him to do. That he has not fallen short of what he had to do. But I think ideally the sensible thing is to renegotiate. Landlords are also being sensible. And yes, the date depends on the date of notification in your state. If you are in Maharashtra, the earliest date was 21st. If you are in other states who didn't issue a notification, then of course the central notification was operative from 24th.
What about the end date? End date would be
In terms of notifications, the end date as per the center currently is the 3rd of May, which may get extended. And of course, you can then rely on the central notification. And also, suppose, for example, God forbid, Maharashtra government, decides to have 1 week beyond where center lifts the lockdown. Then to that extent, of course, the Maharashtra notification is also binding on you, and you can rely on it.
So suppose government gives a date as 3rd of May, but actually in terms the shops are not really able to open up, and it takes another 15 days for the markets to open up. And that fellow says still, in practical terms, I'm not able to open up.
See, Ashok bhai, I think in that phase, you are going to be in a phase where you claim impossibility, or you will claim necessity as a principle to say, I couldn't occupy, that it was impossible, it was illegal, by necessity, I could not come and occupy. But these are ultimately a question of renegotiation, whether you will get a waiver or whether you will get a discount on the rent. But this situation that after the notification got over, my staff couldn't come for another 15 days. I could not source enough materials to start for another 15 days. The sentiment in the market was negative. Nobody would come to my shop for 15 days. These are all matters of renegotiation, but it is not a situation which creates a right not to pay.
Correct.
It gives you a right to renegotiate, but no
perfectly understood.
Not pay.
Avinash ji, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, Rohan bhai, there is a question from one of the participants. Every jeweler has given a buyback facility to their customers. Now, in this situation, what will be the status of the jeweler in case if he is unable to buy back because of the typical difficult situation which has arisen?
No, so you have given a commitment of buyback to whom?
To the consumer.
Who have bought
the consumer.
No, so now let us say when he comes back, what is the impossibility in terms of being able to buy the goods back?
Liquidity.
So what we are now saying is that you have a financial difficulty.
Correct.
It's not an impossibility.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that situation, what would be the ideal solution for you? Would it be to say, I can fulfill my obligation after 90 days? Or would it be to say that, I can fulfill my obligation, but I can only pay you 50% of the price? From your perspective, what would be the desired situation?
No, in this situation, I have given a buyback at say 10% less of the market price. Now that is a contractual obligation from my side because I have given in writing to the consumer. Now, if I say 50%, that is going to be a contractual distinct. So as you said, if we can defer it by 90 days, it will not have any problem.
No, see, let's understand every contract is capable of being renegotiated by mutual consent of parties.
Okay.
So let us say this person comes and says, please buy. And you say, कि भाई sorry, अभी liquidity ऐसी नहीं है कि I can pay you 90%. Okay. Will you agree to take 50%? And he says, yes, I agree. Then you will need to have a standard piece of drafting available where you say that in relation to this contract, where I was required to pay 90%, parties by mutual consent have renegotiated that the buyback can happen at 50%. And if both of you sign that to say that that is a written amendment of the contract, then of course you now have a new contract at which 50% is legally permissible, right?
Okay.
Same way, if your situation is that you have a 90-day deferment which you agree to, that upon the person presenting, let us say you say, yes, if you present, I will buy after 90 days. Or you have some variation saying, when you come back to me, upfront I will pay you 20%, but remainder I will pay you after 90 days. Okay. The moment you are able to record this in a new contract, which refers to the old contract and now says there is a mutually agreed renegotiation, and the new terms are the following. I think if you have something standard like that in your shop, which you offer to a customer, and if the customer is agreeable to it, then there is absolutely no issue. It is by consent, every contract can be varied. But if you unilaterally vary it, and let us say he goes to court saying this was the commitment, and now they cannot say that COVID, because of COVID, the situation is it is impossible, because ultimately he should have the resource to buy. COVID has not created a situation where he is unable to fund his own business. He should fund it. He should pay me. Now, in that situation, when you go to court, the customer will have a basis to say, look, he has breached the contract. But if your defense is COVID and you say that I am willing to pay him in 90 days, I will pay him 20% now and 20% after 1 month and then 20% in 2 months, most judges will look at that offer to say it's a fair offer. And now the judge will make an order to say, because of COVID, it is not possible to perform, but payment will happen in this sequence. Over 3 months it will be paid, and if he doesn't pay, then he will be answerable to this court.
Okay.
So either you renegotiate yourself, or even if it goes to a court, you will get some accommodation.
Great. Ashok bhai, there is one question which Jatin bhai wants to ask. I'm unmuting Jatin bhai. And then one question by Mr. Mohanlal Jain. I want to unmute him also. Jatin bhai, you can please ask.
Yeah, good afternoon, Rohan bhai.
Anji, kem cho?
All well, sir. One interesting question. People have loss of profit policy, and the insurance company is saying that only if the loss of profit under fire or earthquake is first triggered, then only the claim under the loss of profit can be triggered subsequently. Can we apply force majeure to this?
Interesting situation. I'm facing it right now, and I'll just take a minute to digress a little. I am acting for one of the IPL teams, and the IPL team had got an insurance policy against loss of profit. Now, we paid the premium. In fact, our force majeure specifically talks of pandemic. Okay. And the situation therefore is that we would have been 100% covered for loss of profit. What happened is, insurance company few days ago returned the policy with full premium, with GST and with interest.
Oh my God.
Saying we are giving it back to you. Okay. There is no longer a policy with you.
Okay. Oh God. Can they actually do it?
No, they've sent it to us. I mean, we have received it saying we have cancelled your contract. Now, in that situation, what we have said is that, first of all, we bought an insurance and you made an offer that a normal insurance premium is 63 lakhs. Pandemic, if it is included, it is 1 crore 12 lakhs. I paid 1 crore 12 lakhs. You specifically gave me pandemic cover. But when the pandemic occurs, you say that now my policy is cancelled. This is bad faith.
Absolutely.
The policy, or I'm taking you to court. Okay. Now, here, of course, our force majeure included pandemic. Okay. Now, if your force majeure by language does not include pandemic, then we have to see whether it has language to say any other event beyond the control of parties, or some such language where we can fit in a pandemic. If we we can fit in a pandemic into that language, then of course we have every right to say that the specific situation for which I was covered included acts on the control of party. This COVID is not in my control, nor is it in your control. It's a global pandemic. It is force majeure. You'll have to pay me. But if your force majeure is only restricted to fire, strike, earthquake, and you have no language, which is a general language under which we can fit it in, then the insurance company will fight you very hard to say that you defined and we both agreed force majeure will cover these 4 events. It will cover strike, it will cover flood, it will cover earthquake. You are not falling in these 4, so I will not pay you. So Jatin, very
Agreed.
on the scope of your language, you know.
So I sent a mail to the company. I have a policy myself. The company said that the first part of the policy has to be triggered. There has to be a claim for fire, earthquake, flood, or something like that. Then only you can trigger that claim. It's a standard policy. So I think in that case we'll have no other recourse left.
Ashok bhai, I will. Yeah. So I said it's very dependent on the terms of the contract. Ashok bhai, I have another call with one.
Yeah. I think we would call for a vote of thanks, and I would like to thank you tremendously, Rohan, for this wonderful presentation. Can you allow us to share the presentation with our people?
Yeah, yes, please do.
And so that they can get a little idea about the whole thing. And in case we have any queries, we can post it back to you in case you would be able to help us answer in case possible. And thank you again, sir, for a wonderful time. You all enjoyed it thoroughly well. For friends, tomorrow we have another session at 2 p.m. The World of Diamonds, Kal Aaj Aur Kal. And we are going to have with us Russell Mehta, Sachin Jain, Bobby Kothari, and Himanshu Shekhar, moderated by Prasad Kapre. So have a wonderful evening and a wonderful day. And Ron, thanks again very much and for all the time. I know it's 3:30 past already. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you so much. And please feel free to ask whatever
sure.
Additional queries come. And in the meanwhile, please stay safe, stay well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ron.
Thank you, Ron bhai. Thank you very much.